Good afternoon, everyone. So, this is my report about the Hotel Rwanda. And first of all, my name is Kyra Palalon Lahat. This is Paul Rashabagajana. He is a Hutu, owner of the Mile Collins Hotel, trusted by many Hutus and Tutsis, acted as refugee camp during the genocide and tried to help many people as he could. Tells the general that the Americans are spying on him to make him feel threatened and makes many compromises to help people he does. Colonel Oliver, UN officer stationed at Rwanda to help keep the peace, says he's there to keep the peace and not make peace. He tells the soldier not to shoot Hutus and does not get involved. And this is George Rutaganda, friendly with General but pretends that they aren't on TV, which is secretly working together. He is the leader of the Ramwe, and he keeps Tutsis captive and people beats them, and people wants to give him the names of the Tutsi in his hotel. General Bizimungu, working with Colonel Oliver to make peace agreement, doesn't want Interwamhet to go crazy, and he also gives Paul the officers to help and protect the hotel when he tells him the Americans are watching. Jack Daglish, a journalist and photographer who documents the Rwanda genocide, wants to show people the truth about what's happening because he thinks people would just ignore it and forget they don't see. Terms to know, genocide, it is deliberate killing of large people, especially those of a particular nation or ethnic group. Hutu, majority population who were historically oppressed, gained power in government after an uprising against Tutsi, while Tutsi, minority population that enjoyed more privileges than and rights due to amount of cattle they owned and favoritism during Belgian rule of Rwanda. President Habyarimana, Hutu president before genocide occurs, and was killed in the April 6, 1994. Immaculée Lizabigaza, the author of Left to Tell, Paul Risusa Bagena, author of An Ordinary Man, Hotel Rwanda movie based off the true story, and Entera Hamwe, government-backed Hutu militia that carried out killings during the genocide. United Nations, a multinational organization created to maintain international order and promote peace. RPF, Rwanda Patriotic Front, a Tutsi militia that eventually overpowers Hutu militia to end the genocide. Introduction. So Hotel Rwanda is a drama film depicting the events in Rwandan Hotel during the 1994 Rwandan genocide. It was co-written, co-produced, and directed by Terry George to U.S. audiences. The film was theatrically released on December 22nd, 2004. Hotel Rwanda documents that frantic attempts of Paul to provide refugee to nearly 1,200 Rwandans escaping the genocide in his hotel. The film persuasively explores the various themes of corruption, genocide, heroism, mortality, racism, and among others. So the summary of Hotel Rwanda is that this section represents a summary of the film. Paul is the proud manager of Hotel The Smiles, a four-star hotel in Kigali. The hotel is owned by Belgian and hosts wealthy foreign client. Although a loyal caretaker of the hotel, Paul is increasingly wary of the tension in his country, whereby this Hutu tribe is increasingly pitted against the Tutsis. As government policy in these already troubled times, the majority of Hutu government had declared that all citizens wear an identification card outlining their ethnicity. So when the nation's Hutu president dies in the plane crash, the Rwandan state radio station is quick to point a damning finger at at the Tutsis. The media outlet urged Hutus to word out the cockroaches. Hotel Rwanda is an interesting and well-told story that compels people to watch it. It is set in Rwanda's capital city, Kigali, during the time when the infamous Rwanda genocide took place. The film revolves around the unbelievable Paul real story, an assistant manager of Mill Collins Hotel. Using the combination of wit, bribery, and well-established connection, Paul saved 1,238 Tutsis from being killed during the genocide. It is uplifting and encouraging film that proves the ability of human beings even during the worst circumstances. Close to 1 million Rwandas were butchered systematically during the genocide, and many more lost their lives within 6 weeks. Thus, the genocide was the worst in the world's history. The Rwanda genocide associated with several causes that stirred it, among them media population. It was believed that the media played a critical role in fueling the genocide. In the film, Hotel Rwanda sets off the things by introducing the RTLM dreadful radio broadcast, the incredibly inflammatory speeches full of hate messages were the reality that was happening in Rwanda's radio station daily. The radios explained their hatred for Tutsis by referring to them as cockroaches and declared that Rwanda was a Hutu land. The broadcaster went to say that the Hutus were the majority while the Tutsis formed the minorities, hence the Tutsis had to die. Rwanda genocide was carefully planned by the government to coincide with the eagerly awaited one man, one vote. As a result, the Rwandan government believed that this was the best opportunity to kill Christians of the Tutsi origin without the world knowing about heinous crimes. For some reason, the strategic timing of the genocide occurred is not mentioned in the film. The film was mentions that many foreign journalists were arriving for peacekeeping, but the truth was that only 2 foreign journalists were present. The Rwanda genocide was one of the greatest violations of human rights to have been recorded in any part of the world. The US and other powerful countries should have intervened militarily to prevent the mass killings that took place in the country. What happened in Rwanda required international intervention, and this would have reduced the numbers of people who were killed. And intervention would have been treated as the case of just war aimed at rescuing innocent people who face death on their faces. The film depicts how the UN failed to stop the genocide and portrays its action as racially motivated. As UN troops headed to the hotel, refugees were optimistic that they were to be safe. The key moral in the film is that the UN powerful countries were not supposed to just watch as Rwanda took the path of self-destruction. The film presents more than one side of the moral. The other side of the moral is that a government should never race against its own people when it is supposed to protect them. Questions to consider: What physical character separated the Hutus and Tutsi? Well, Tutsi, tall, slender, light-skinned, called tall trees by Hutu extremists, while the Hutus are shorter, muscular, and have a darker skin. What role did radio propaganda play in genocide? Radio station gave orders to which Tutsis to kill and where. Radio station gave orders to which Tutsis to kill and where Tutsis were hiding. The radio also played a role in dehumanizing the Tutsis by using hateful language and spreading propaganda. The Hutu extremists listening to the radio were largely illiterate and counted on the radio to receive a majority of information. When did the genocide end? Who defeated the Hutu militias to stop the killing? It ended July 1994. The RPF defeats the Hutu and the genocide ended. Historically, which group was elite and ruling class in Rwanda? Tutsi wealth was judged by amount of cattle owned, and Tutsis had more. The Tutsis were seen as the elite and ruling minority class. The division was intensified by Belgians who favored the Tutsis for political reasons and because they appeared more European. Hutus regained more power in 1960s when they revolted against the Tutsi majority and Belgian rule. And that's the end of my report about Hotel Rwanda, and it is based on true stories. Thank you so much for listening.